Yeah,
Fine.
and you want to make sure.
Okay. Okay.
Red means that it's live, believe it or not.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I just leave it
So
on.
I'm 30 years.
You can leave it on, but
doing
only
tap and
4
higher ed for
mics
in
could be on
Bronx.
at the same
Yeah, so
I
time.
know it pretty
So
well.
usually if
think
somebody
we've
finished
been at
talking,
board
just
meetings together.
automatically
Right.
press it on.
Okay.
Okay?
And by the way, they're sensitive, so they pick up.
The
Don't
mic.
whisper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just,
So you're
I'm good.
so the
on.
red,
It's on.
Waiting
Yeah.
for
I'm on.
someone
You want it on?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Open it.
Booyah.
Okay. Sorry. See the
Uh,
where's mine?
yeah, I'm gonna, that's what I'm gonna double check.
absolutely.
And then Maria, for audit, if I need any help, Dora is there to help me? Any questions
yes,
come up that are
yes,
outside
yes.
of my scope?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Those are the Albany folks?
Yes. And they have a very fancy setup, like when someone speaks, it'll zoom into their face.
Oh.
Yes. It's quite awkward.
Yeah, I was gonna say, glad we don't have that.
Oh, this is Doris. Yes. Oh, yes.
1201.
Oh, he should have come to, yeah, he should have come to. Thank you. Yes.
So who are we waiting to open?
It's really hard for students. You know, with your school schedule and everything,
Yeah,
it's
finals,
hard.
finals is doing
I
what finals have to
know.
do.
What year are you in?
Seniors, I'm at Geneseo,
And what are you majoring in?
political science ethics.
Okay. I'm political science undergrad attorney, if you want to talk to me about law school or anything.
That's the plan. Took my LSAS already, so.
Good for you, man. I'm happy to talk to you.
Yeah. Thank you.
I was an accounting major, but with a poli-sci sort of dual major.
That's good also. You
And
got,
people are is going to become a lawyer, and it's actually a
We
challenge.
have a quorum.
Okay, we have 4 board members here. So we have a quorum since we have 4 in Albany. We have Alexander Ruiz, Dr. Alicea, Mark Jerome, and Renee Sarmiento. So we can get started.
Good afternoon and welcome to the HESC Board of Trustees meeting. I'm Dr. Guillermo Linares, President of HESC. Thank you to everyone in the room here in New York City and those joining us in Albany for being here today. We appreciate the presence of both our longtime board members and those who are joining us for the first time. Your dedication to HESC, New York State government, and our mission to provide higher education opportunities for students is highly valued. We have a busy agenda for the next 2 hours, so let's jump right into the first order of business, starting with the nominating committee. I'm pleased to turn it over to nominating committee chair Patricia Thompson, we call her Patty, Assistant Vice Chancellor for Student Financial Aid Services of SUNY System Administration. I turn it over to you, Patty.
Thank you, Dr. Linares, and hello, everyone. I'm happy to call the meeting to order at 12:05 p.m. So good afternoon and welcome to the HESC Board of Trustees meeting. As Dr. Linares said, I'm Patty Thompson. I'm the designee of Chancellor King and chair of the nominating committee. So I'd like to open today's meeting with our first order of business, which is a report from the nominating committee. The nominating committee met on November 30th, 2023, with members Renee Scarmiato from SUNY, William Murphy from SED, and me. And the committee unanimously presents the following slates for chair, vice chair, and secretary to the board. They are, for the chair, Dr. Victor Alicea, vice chair, Becky Maxson, secretary to the board, Nisa Alicina. So before I call for a motion, are there any other nominations? Okay, hearing none. I move to approve the slate of the nominating committee with Dr. Victor Alicea as chair, Becky Maxson as vice chair, and Nisa Alicina as secretary. May I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mark Jerome.
So carried. Congratulations to all. And Chairman.
We need to say if we're all in, for those who are in favor.
All in favor. Aye.
Any opposed?
Any opposed? No? Okay. Now we're so carried. Okay, congratulations to all. And Chairperson Alicea, the meeting is yours.
thank you, Patricia Thompson and the nominating committee for the nomination. And thanks to the rest of the Board of Trustees for electing me to serve as chair. I'm excited for the work ahead. HESC's mission of helping students afford college is an extremely important one, and I thank each one of you for your attendance today. On behalf of the board and HESC, I would like to also extend my appreciation to the Department of Financial Services in Albany and the City University of New York here in New York City for the use of the facilities for this meeting. Joining me at CUNY's central office are fellow board members Salimatu Doumbaya, Chairperson, University Student Senate of the City University of New York, Mark Jerome, President of Monroe College, Alexander Ruiz, President of SUNY Student Assembly at SUNY Geneseo, and Renee Sarmiento, Vice Chancellor for Enrollment Management at CUNY, who is CUNY Chancellor Felix Matos Rodriguez designate, along with the HESC leadership here, the President, Dr. Linares, Doris Gonzalez, who is the new Executive Vice President of HESC, and Frank Ballman, who is the Federal Liaison. In Albany, at the Department of Financial Services are the board members Becky Maxon, Deputy Director for Compliance and Policy at Cornell University, William Murphy, Deputy Commissioner for Higher Education at the New York State Education Department, representing Commissioner Betty Rosa, Dr. Manny Rivera, Associate Professor of K-12 Education Leadership Program at the Warner Graduate School of Education at the University of Rochester, and Patricia Thompson, Assistant Vice Chancellor, Student Financial Aid at the State University of New York, representing Chancellor John King Jr. There in Albany, the HESC staff include Nasa Alcina, Board Secretary and General Counsel, and Adeline Krejci, Associate Attorney. As Dr. Linares said, we have a full agenda, so let's get started. We will first hear from the HESC staff on several updates. We then have three resolutions to address. The first is related to our ability to do video conferencing at future meetings. The second is a resolution related to amending our bylaws, and the third resolution is to authorize HESC to proceed with the promulgation of the regulations to implement the tuition assistance program as it relates to non-degree workforce courses. But our first order of business is to approve the minutes of the May 31st, 2019 meeting of the Board of Trustees. And by the way, it's okay to vote even if you were not at the meeting in 2019. By the way, that was the meeting where the board authorized HESC to promulgate regulations for the DREAM Act. May I please have a motion to approve the minutes of May 31st, 2019?
So moved.
Moved.
Do I have a second?
Moved by Mark Jerome,
Do I have a second?
Second.
seconded by Alexander Ruiz.
Any discussion? If not, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of approving the minutes, please raise your hand.
Aye.
Any
All-
opposed?
All here in New York City approved. And I just want to state for the record that Salimatu Dumbuya is not present. So just for the record.
Any abstentions on the vote?
And I
The
see
motion.
in Albany, we have 4 votes in the affirmative.
Okay, that's good. That's good. The motion carries and the minutes are adopted without change. I'll now ask Dr. Linares to proceed with the President's report.
Thank you, Dr. Alice, and congratulations on being chair of the board. Thank you, Dr. Alicea, and congratulations on being chair of the board. It has been quite some time since the board met last in 2019. Much has changed in our agency that significantly impacts our work and mission. To provide you with a comprehensive overview of our organization, which I believe will be especially beneficial to the new members who are joining us, our team created a brief video that highlights our work, our team, and our achievements during the past year. But before we kick off the video, I would first like to share a few key highlights. First, our new leadership. We have a new Deputy Secretary of Education, Maria Fernandez, who has been a true advocate for HESC and for the work we do. We also have Doris Gonzalez, Executive Vice President, who has replaced Elsa McGee, who retired a few months ago. Having known Doris since the 90s, when I was in the New York City Council, I can attest to her remarkable impact then and now, as I am fortunate to work alongside of her once again. I'm also proud to have a number of other new talents on our executive team, only some of whom are here today with us. Nisa Alcina, General Counsel, Frank Bowman, Federal Liaison, Javan Bahol, Director of Human Resources, Besode Kajust, Director of Evaluation and Research, Kayla Divine, Director of Finance, Dora Diaz-Crow, Audit Director, Nona Donovan, Director of New York Gear Up, LaSonia Griggs, Director of Grants and Scholarship Operations, Mary Hayden Cook, Director of Financial Aid System Modernization, and Angela Leora, Director of Communications. Second, the transition from the Federal Family Education Loan Program. In May of this year, we exited our role as a guarantee agency under the Federal Family Education Loan Program. This marked the closure of a significant chapter, one that has been a focal point of our activities since HESC establishment in the 1970s. This transition has allowed us to allocate our resources fully forward, assisting New Yorkers in attaining state financial aid awards to support their college education. Third is the expansion of TAP. Exciting and historic changes have been made to extend TAP to students who were previously ineligible, including those attending part-time, students enrolled in non-degree programs at SUNY and CUNY community colleges who are seeking to develop or gain new skills in advancing industries, and incarcerated individuals enabling them to participate in beneficial programming that can expand their employment prospects and future success upon release. As we celebrate the 50th anniversary of this flagship program, it is worth mentioning that TAP has provided over $30 billion with a B in aid to more than 6 million students. These recent changes in TAP mark a significant shift in a program that has spanned over 5 decades. And lastly, and fourth, the modernization of our website and financial aid system. We have focused on modernizing our website and fully revamping our financial aid application system. Our goal is to ensure that students can easily access the information they need and seamlessly apply for grants and scholarships. These efforts will give them the knowledge and tools they need to pursue their college dream. I would now like to share our brief video.
As the go-to source for New York State higher education student financial aid, HESC understands the challenges students face when it comes to affording college tuition, finding financial support, and navigating the financial aid process. Our mission to centrally administer financial aid to eligible New Yorkers helps take students from where they are to where they want to be. Opportunity realized. That's what HESC is all about. Each year, HESC awards hundreds of millions of dollars in financial aid to hundreds of thousands of college-going students through a wide range of financial aid programs, including 28 grant, scholarship, and loan forgiveness options that support students on their college journey like TAP, the Excelsior Scholarship, ETA, and Gear Up. Celebrating its 50th anniversary this year, the New York State Tuition Assistance Program, or TAP, is the most extensive need-based grant program in the state and among one of the most generous grant programs in the nation. Since its inception, TAP has provided nearly $30 billion in financial aid to more than 6 million New Yorkers pursuing a college education. Today, TAP serves eligible students pursuing degrees on a full-time basis. part-time students pursuing both degree programs and non-degree training programs, dreamers, and incarcerated students. As we enter TAP's 50th year, we are proud to support all New Yorkers in their quest to obtain a degree or access training courses to build or improve their work skills. The New York State Excelsior Scholarship. The First in Nation Excelsior Scholarship is a last dollar scholarship that covers the cost of tuition at New York's 2- and 4-year public colleges and universities by filling any remaining gap between tuition and other eligible forms of free financial aid. Enhanced Tuition Awards. The Enhanced Tuition Awards Program, or ETA, provides recipients attending a participating private college with $6,000 annually to offset their tuition costs through a combination of their TAP Award, ETA Award, and a match from their private college. In addition, HESC offers career-specific scholarships like the STEM Scholarship, the Math and Science Teaching Incentive Scholarship, and the Masters in Education Teaching Incentive Scholarship. Loan forgiveness. HESC administers 7 student loan forgiveness programs, including Get on Your Feet and loan forgiveness programs for social or child welfare workers, district attorneys, teachers, farmers, and nursing faculty. These programs support the recruitment and retention of talent in shortage occupations and/or shortage areas across the state, while by alleviating the recipient's student loan debt. New York Gear Up. HESC is also the designated lead administering agency for New York State's Gaining Early Awareness and Readiness for Undergraduate Programs, or Gear Up program. In administering a $28 million grant, New York Gear Up is working with a cohort of 6,000 students from the 7th grade to the completion of their freshman year of college to significantly increase the number of students who are prepared to enter and succeed in post-secondary education or training. HESC's strategic goals ensure that our work aligns with our agency's mission to effectively administer financial aid to eligible New Yorkers. These goals consist of the orderly exit from the Federal Family Education Loan Program, FFEL, after more than 50 years, and to become the go-to resource for financial aid, which will be largely accomplished by revamping our public gateway to information with a website redesign and simplifying the financial aid application process through the overhauling of our financial aid application platform. HESC employees also give back generously to our local communities through programs like the statewide Federated Appeal, with annual donations of approximately $12,000, the Martin Luther King Food Drive, annually raising and donating $1,000 or more to the Northeast Regional Food Bank, and the Martin Luther King Book Drive to support local elementary schools serving students living in high-need districts. As we at HESC continue efforts to ensure opportunities are realized, we look forward to the contribution that each of our board members will offer to help drive forward our mission and New York State's higher education goals and objectives.
Thank you, Dan and Josh and the team for a wonderful video presentation. Our work and accomplishments are the result of years of hard work in creating a platform that enables us to provide more modernized services and to make college more accessible and affordable for New York students. We take great pride in the work that we do and are excited to continue our mission of supporting students in their pursuit of higher education. We're also fortunate to be guided by a governor who is dedicated to reimagining higher education and committed to providing students with every opportunity to enhance their competitive advantage and prepare our state for the future. Thank you again for your support and for being here today. I will turn it back to our chair, Dr. Victor Alicea.
Thank you, Dr. Linares. Before we proceed, I want to acknowledge the presence of a member of our board, Salimatu Doumbouya, Chairperson, University Student Senate of the City, University of New York. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'll now ask Ellen Krejci, HESC Associate Attorney and Ethics Officer, to proceed with an announcement.
Good afternoon, Board of Trustees. As Chairman Alisea mentioned, I am Ellen Krejci, Associate Attorney and Ethics Officer. I'm here to share with you what my duties are as Ethics Officer and what your ethical obligations are as board members. I am here as a resource for you to help you navigate various requirements. By way of background, every state agency is required to have an ethics officer. As the ethics officer at HESC, my duties include providing employees and board members the guidance from the ethics laws and the policies that apply to them, managing the agency financial disclosure statement filer list, coordinating ethics training for employees and board members in conjunction with the Commission on Ethics and Lobbying in Government, and maintaining the ethics training records for the agency. As members of the Board of Trustees, you have 3 specific ethics-related obligations. You are required to, first, file an annual financial disclosure statement. Second, complete annual ethics course. Abide by the Code of Ethics and Public Officers Law, Section 74. First, with respect to the financial disclosure statement, the purpose of the FDS is to provide transparency and prevent any conflicts of interest. Some of you may already be filed, but if you are not, you can file online by using a NewYork.gov account to log into the FDS system online. If you haven't previously filed an FDS, you are required to do so for 2022 within 30 days. After your initial filing, the annual filing deadline is May 15th, unless you are a SUNY or CUNY employee, in which case your annual filing deadline remains November 15th. Second, as a board member, you are required to take a comprehensive ethics training course when you join the board and every 2 years thereafter. This is a real-time interactive course, but it is offered online so you can participate remotely. In alternate years between live courses, you may take an ethics refresher course, which is available online and on demand. So by the end of this month, if you have not already done so, you must take one of the 2 options, real-time or on-demand course, followed by the other course sometime in 2024. There are 2 upcoming opportunities to register for the comprehensive ethics course. One is next Thursday, December 14th, from 1 to 2:30 p.m., and the other is on Thursday, December 21st, from 1 to 2:30 p.m. In addition, the refresher course may be taken online by registering on the statewide learning management system. Again, you will need a NewYork.gov account to register. I will follow up via email with each board member with all of the details on how to register. I will serve as a resource to you on any ethics-related questions that you may have. Finally, you need to be aware of the Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct that are part of Public Officers Section 74. The Code of Ethics is intended to prevent you from misusing your official position or authority. It aims to prevent actual conflicts of interest, as well as the appearance of conflict when performing your state duties. You will learn more about how the standards of conduct apply to you in the upcoming ethics course. Briefly, the standards are impartiality, confidentiality, securing privileges or favors based on your state position, doing business with the state, financial conflicts, and integrity. I will follow up with you to share all of the ethics laws I've mentioned today, as well as additional information on FDS and online training. Thank you for your attention to this important matter, and now I will turn it back to Chairman Alisea.
Thank you, Ellen. I'll now ask Frank Ballman, HESC Director of Federal Relations, to proceed with a federal update.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Frank Ballman, the Director of Federal Relations for HESC, and I'm going to provide a general update on what's happening that will affect HESC's role in the future. First thing is there's a new FAFSA that will be launched by the end of this year that will greatly simplify the process of helping students and parents apply for student financial aid. The program will result in many more students being eligible for Pell Grants and many more students being eligible for the maximum Pell Grant. The Department of Education Washington estimates that an additional 23,000 students will receive Pell Grants this year they would not have received under the old criteria, and another 75,000+ will get the maximum Pell Grant that previously got a smaller Pell Grant. There is unfortunately some less favorable news, one of which is that due to the delayed process, HESC and financial aid offices throughout New York State and the country will not receive the student records that indicate their eligibility until late January. So the already greatly compacted process of awarding student aid is going to be even more tightly compacted. The other perhaps relatively minor issue is that New York is one of 7 states that participates in something called the Application Program Interface, in which a student can, when they finish their FAFSA, they can pre-populate their TAP application with their FAFSA data. And due to the late running nature of the implementation of FAFSA, the API will not be available for the 24-25 FAFSA. Also related to the new FAFSA is there's a new student aid internet gateway agreement, which is the agreement under which the FAFSA and in particular the IRS data that we get is transmitted to the state. And the agreement that HESC has been asked to sign no longer allows us to share that information with what is referred to as designated entities, would be things like Gear Up, Trio partners, and other college access partners. So HESC has reached out, along with many, many other states, to the Department of Education, say, we think this is a mistake, please fix this, and discussions are ongoing. As you heard earlier, HESC is no longer a FFELP guarantee agency, but we do still care about helping students pay back their student loans. And a couple of developments in that regard is over 300,000 New Yorkers as of mid-October have signed up for the new Saving on a Valuable Education loan repayment program that cuts student loan payments in half for many borrowers once they're in a repayment. And also under new Biden administration initiatives, over 58,000 New Yorkers have received over $4 billion in public service loan forgiveness over the last 2+ years. Going forward with the federal appropriations process, while, as many of you know, a budget has not yet been passed for federal fiscal 24, which funds the Pell Grant and other student aid programs for 24-25, despite the rhetoric you might hear coming out of Washington, I can tell you in individual meetings I've had with people who have said very different things in public, they fully understand the value of student financial aid to their constituents, and both Democrats and Republicans agree there's no way there will be the cuts that are being talked about, 20% of student financial aid being cut. And in a promising development just this week, the Republican chair of the House Education Workforce Committee and the Democratic ranking member reached agreement on a proposal to use Pell funding for non-degree programs. It's called the Bipartisan and Workforce Pell Act. And this has been in development for many years. And even better, there's additional funding appropriated for it, so it would not drain the existing Pell Reserve. So there are signs of bipartisanship in Washington. And another, I'd say, bipartisan student financial aid initiative is what's called post-secondary student success grants, formerly known as college completion grants, where the CUNY ASAP program is really the model for programs that double graduation rates and help students get out of college and into the workforce more quickly. So despite the rhetoric, I think there's strong support for Pell Grants and other student financial aid programs. And that concludes my presentation. Unless there are questions, I hand it back to Dr. Alisea.
Thank you, Frank, for that wonderful report. I know that Washington is in chaos, but I know that you see it clearly. Before we proceed, I want to acknowledge that our friend Maria Fernandez, Deputy Secretary of Education, has joined us. Welcome, Maria. I now ask for Mark Jerome, Audit Committee Chair, to proceed with his report. Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am pleased to present this report on behalf of the HESC Board of Trustees Audit Committee, which consists of Dr. David Harris, who's the president of Union College, Dr. Manuel Rivera, who is a longtime educational policy expert and who has served 2 governors and now is a professor at the University of Rochester, and myself. On Monday, November 27th, we held a meeting of the Audit Committee, along with the HESC staff, whereby KPMG, who is HESC's independent auditors for the federal awards, provided an overview of the fiscal year ending March 2022, as the March 2023 year-end audit had not yet been finalized. In addition, HESC's audit director, Dora Diaz-Crow, also shared some plans as it relates to HESC's internal audits with respect to state funds and agency operations. I will share with you some of the highlights of that meeting, as well as key points of the finance report provided by HESC's Director of Finance, Kayla Devine. First, I'll begin with the finance report, grants and scholarship programs. So HESC grants and scholarships are supported by New York State's general fund. Funding has generally been flat for the last 3 fiscal years at $1.1 billion. For the academic year 2022-23, HESC is anticipated to provide, as we saw in the video, a total of $854 million in grants and scholarships to over 250,000 students across the state. Outside of my audit remarks, there has been a decline of low-income students attending college in New York, so the overall TAP budget has declined. Administration update. HESC administrative expenses are supported by a dedicated special revenue fund. The revenue is from loan collection activities associated with its role as a federal guarantee agency for the FFELP program and the associated interest. The use of funds is restricted to the guarantee agency administrative expenses necessary to administer FELP and the state's grants and scholarship programs. As of November, HESC's special revenue other balance is $84.8 million. This is up $2 million since the beginning of fiscal year 23-24. Total disbursements for the 23-24 year are expected to be $36.5 million. And here's how that's broken down. $14.8 million is reserved for personal service and benefits, which is how HESC supports its employee wages and associated benefits for approximately 70 FTE employees and other non-annual staff. $8.7 million for non-personal services, things such as lease costs and contracts with vendors for services like data processing, a website redesign project, and support from NYSTEC for financial aid system modernization. And lastly, transfers of $13 million, which is information technology staff support and related services provided by the New York State Office of Information Technology. I'm now going to speak about the exit from the FFELP and its administrative impact. There will be a loss of revenue. HESC will no longer receive the funds I just spoke about and the revenue associated with collections beginning in 23 and 24. There is a deferred aversion fee called a DAF underbilling of approximately $3 million that is anticipated. Transitioning to the general fund, when HESC's current fund balance is exhausted, which is anticipated in 2025-26, HESC operations will be supported by the state's general fund. HESC's FTEs and other administrative costs should remain. The remaining FFELP liability. HESC sets aside and has set aside $6 million in 2023 and 24 for potential liability costs owed to our successor guarantee agency, who is Trellis. HESC anticipates up to $12 million in additional liability to be paid to the U.S. Department of Education for potential loss guarantee on a few thousand remaining accounts that HESC is currently addressing. Now I'll turn to the independent audit of federal funds as conducted by our external auditor, KPMG. So historically, and bear with me, this is a little procedural, HESC's financial statements have been reported in three ways. First, it's included in the New York State financial statement as a non-major component unit. Second, as a standalone financial statements issued to the U.S. Department of Education. And third, as part of the uniform guidance package provided to the U.S. Department of Education for the FELP program. Here are the audit findings for fiscal year March 31, 2020 ending. The financial statement audit issued an unmodified opinion, which means that the financial statements were presented fairly in all material respects and in accordance with an applicable financial reporting framework. The uniform audit focused on FELP as a major program. A qualified opinion was issued due to a variance of $7.7 million that existed between FELP default loan balance reporting on the financial statement and the amount reported to DOE. We had discussion that this was a variance that the Department of Ed was aware of for many, many years. In addition, KPMG reported that there were some instances of non-compliance with the teacher loan forgiveness program, as not all repayment remittances were issued within the 45-day period. KPMG did not identify any issues reported related to the generally accepted accounting principles, misstatements, subsequent events, illegal acts or fraud, or going concern. For 2023, an audit of HESC's standalone financial statements will no longer be issued, and the uniform guidance audit requirements will be addressed through the New York State Uniform Guidance. Lastly, HESC's audit direction provided by the audit committee with an overview of the division's role and purpose, a walkthrough of the audit charter detailing purpose, mission, authority, and responsibility was presented to us by Dora Diaz-Crow, who actually has extensive experience in audit and compliance. In terms of the 23-24 audit plan, there are 17 engagements planned. The initial plan has been revised due to 2 unexpected audits, one of which any college president is well aware of. The first is the default aversion underbilling, and the second was the TAP overpayment that occurred for some students. Here are the status of the audits that have been completed. She gave a review of 3 audits that have been completed, 6 are in progress, and 8 are to be started. We also had a discussion of the findings and the corrective actions. The internal audit found internal control issues that are currently being addressed by HESC and ITS. The audit committee voted to the 23-24 audit plan unanimously. The audit division will report on findings, significant issues, and provide updates on corrective action. I want to thank you, and I also want to thank the HESC staff for taking its audit responsibilities very, very seriously. That is my report. If there are any questions, I am here and the staff is here. And if none, it's back to you.
Thank you very much, Mark, for that exhaustive report. So many details that we have to follow. Thank you very much. Now on to the various resolutions. The first item is a public hearing to consider proposed resolution 2023-1, which authorizes members of the board to attend meetings remotely from private locations under extraordinary circumstances in compliance with the Open Meetings Law. Under the Open Meetings Law, public bodies can allow board members to attend meetings by video conferencing from locations that are not open to the public under what the law calls extraordinary circumstances, such as disability, illness, caregiving responsibilities, or any other significant or unexpected factor that precludes a board member from physically attending a meeting in person. With this proposed resolution and related procedures, a board member may be allowed to attend a meeting via video conferencing from a private location under extraordinary circumstances. We're now going to open the floor to any member of the public present here or in Albany who would like to offer comment or testimony on the resolution at hand. Now, this is a comment period only for the video conferencing resolution. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to address this specific resolution concerning video conferencing? Going once, going twice. Yes?
None in Albany.
Okay. Okay, hearing no comments to the proposed resolution, we will now conclude the public hearing. So may I please have a motion to adopt Resolution 2023-1 to authorize members of the HESC Board to participate via video conference under extraordinary circumstances and adopt the related written procedures.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of the resolution, please raise your hand.
We here in New York City have 5 board members in the affirmative, and it was moved by Mark Jerome and seconded by Salimatu Doumbouya. Thank you.
Any opposed?
Here in Albany, there are 4 affirmative.
Any abstentions? The motion to approve 2023-1 for a HESC board member to be allowed to attend a meeting via video conference from a private location under extraordinary circumstances and subject to the written procedures carries. Now I'll turn over to Nesa Alcina, HESC General Counsel and Board Secretary for the remaining resolutions. The first is with respect to amending our Board of Trustees bylaws.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon to all. Another housekeeping matter, if you will, are the bylaws. The existing bylaws of the Board of Trustees were last adopted in April 2017. As you may have seen in your board packet, we have recommended several changes to the bylaws. Most specifically, before you are proposed revisions clarifying what constitutes a quorum, as well as the composition of the audit committee and who will address them, the annual audit and report, contract signing authority above a certain amount, as suggested by our audit record, and the timeless notification of board meetings and delivery of board materials. In accordance with the current bylaws, the trustees received redlined bylaw amendments 10 business days for this meeting. So, Mr. Chairman, unless there are any questions, I turn it back to you if you would like to consider entertaining a motion to adopt the resolution at hand.
Do I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2023-2 to amend the HESC Board of Trustees bylaws as described herein by Nesa?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
One question.
If not, I'll call for the vote.
Question.
Yes.
This is Mayor Vera. In section 11, the elimination of the first clause regarding expenditure contracts and approval and signatures required. It looks like it's simply to eliminate something that could easily be incorporated into one clause. Is that amendment?
What page are you on?
What
article are you on, please?
Page 5 of the bylaws, section 11.
Okay.
Yes, so this is a section concerning expenditure contracts and our agreements to which the corporation is a party shall be approved and signed and how that is carried out. Currently, with the Office of the State Controller, there are 3 signatories here at HESC: the President, the Executive Vice President, and the Director of Finance. The existing bylaws, however, provide that contracts up to and including $250,000 in value could be signed off by the administrative officer. Because there is no such title, administrative officer, we're just clarifying that the individuals who can sign up to $5 million are the Director of Financial Administration / Chief Financial Officer, Executive Vice President, and all contracts over $5 million will require the signature of both the President and the Executive Vice President. Again, that was a suggestion by our Audit Director.
Thank you.
Any further discussions? If not, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of the resolution, please raise your hand.
All of the 5 board members here in New York City raised their hands, and the motion was moved by Alexander Ruiz and was seconded by Salimatu Doumbouya.
And I see 4 votes in the affirmative in Albany. I see 4 votes in the affirmative in Albany.
Okay. Gotcha. We heard you. We heard you. I'm pleased to report that the resolution for amending the bylaws carries. Back to you, Nasa.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The last resolution before the board today is the big one, which is to authorize HESC to file emergency regulations and proposed rulemaking concerning the part-time tuition assistance program. In the 2022-23 budget, Governor Kathy Hochul expanded part-time TAP so that students in workforce credential programs at community colleges and agricultural and technical colleges throughout the state would be eligible for financial aid. SUNY and CUNY have created a number of non-degree workforce credential programs that are designed to prepare students for careers in high-demand fields as designated by the Department of Labor on its most recent statewide significant industries reports. This is a big change that brings TAP to more non-traditional students and non-traditional programs than ever before. Here are some of the highlights. Students in these workforce credential programs will now be eligible for financial aid even if they are taking less than 6 credit hours per semester. Students do not have to be officially matriculated in a degree program in order to be eligible for aid. Students do not necessarily have to have a high school diploma or equivalent in order to be eligible for aid if the program they are enrolling in does not have that as a requirement. However, HESC's existing TAP regulations are too restrictive to allow the students who are supposed to be served by this expanded program to receive aid. Therefore, we need to update our regulations to conform to the statute so that we can fully implement this new program for the spring 2024 semester. Before you are proposed revisions to HESC regulations that would allow us to proceed with the workforce credential program. In addition to the changes to TAP already mentioned, the proposed regulations would make a technical correction to the residency criteria to align with the DREAM Act, create carve-outs from the standard program of study, good academic standing, and satisfactory academic progress requirements based on the unique nature of these non-degree workforce programs. The proposed regulations also provide the appropriate calculation of awards and the timing of payment for these programs. Now, one minor change to the proposed regs we previously received is that we have deleted a column in the charts concerning satisfactory academic progress. While this change does not impact in any way the implementation of the program, it is worth mentioning here. To provide some context, the satisfactory academic progress charts for non-degree workforce credential programs and proposed regs mirror the satisfactory academic progress charts for associate and bachelor's degrees in education law, except the proposed charts would require non-degree students to have completed a certain percentage of the program each semester instead of a certain number of credits to continue receiving aid. This is because the number of required credits varies greatly between programs. In addition, in alignment with the current requirements for students in degree programs, non-degree students would be required to achieve a minimum GPA each semester to continue receiving awards. The final column of each of the charts in the draft you have received included a reference to a degree, but these are non-degree programs. Therefore, these columns were included in error, have been removed, and will not be included in the final version of the regulations submitted to the Department of State as part of the rulemaking process. So on to the current resolution. This resolution would authorize HESC to take all necessary actions to propose these regulatory changes, including any action to publish in the state register, adopt the changes on an emergency basis, extend the temporary emergency adoption as necessary, and permanently adopt the regulatory changes. So, Mr. Chairman, unless there are any questions, I turn it back to you if you would like to consider entertaining a motion to adopt the resolution.
Okay, do I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2023-3, directing HESC to proceed with the filing of emergency regulations and proposed rulemaking concerning the non-degree workforce tuition assistance program?
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yep, there's some discussion here, Mr. Murphy.
Yeah, thank you. Many times when we make changes to the laws that have connections to the Commissioner's Regulations 145 relating to that, have to kind of they consider what changes we might make to them. Do you know if this is going to require some changes that are consistent for 145?
So what's the 145 I know, but I can
Okay.
speak with the general counsel over at SCD
Because we're exempting these stuff that you know.
Right, that's an easier question related to if there are any regulatory changes done in it.
And there's a lot of
Okay.
we don't get around to them for many months later. Once there's law, like we had the same thing happen with some GRE and GPA changes for teacher ed programs. So you know, it's nothing pressing right now, but at times we find inconsistency. So
Okay,
I just want to make sure we're aware of that. That's all.
absolutely, thank you.
Okay, and any further discussion? Yes?
I have two items. I know that in support of this and grateful that 16 of our community colleges are offering this, but I'm wondering the appetite to be able to expand it to the senior colleges who are also dealing with workforce credentials, and to exclude them excludes also a population that is deserving of these credentials. That would mean an additional 10 campuses for the City University of New York, and doubling our impact that we could have for those credentials. So I want to be able to put that out there. The second thing is that some of the courses that we have run 52 weeks, right? And so we'd like some clarification on how that would work if the classes run through different fiscal years. So basic logistics, but also important as we talk with students about how they get paid. Thank you.
So noted. Any other discussions? If not, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the resolution, please raise your hand.
Hi, here in New York City, the motion was moved by Salimato Dumbuya, seconded by Mark Jerome, and all of the board members present are raising their hands in the affirmative.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? I'm pleased to report that the resolution to implement the TAP non-degree workforce program carries.
And we also
Thank
had
you.
4 votes to the affirmative in Albany.
Thank you. By the way, does anyone from the Leadership Council wish to address the board? Okay, hearing none, thank you. And according to the bylaws, we are required to schedule our next board meeting now. Please save the date for
April 24th, 2024 at 10 a.m. to 12 noon.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to bring the meeting to a close?
So moved.
Any second? Do I have a second?
Second.
You mean you want to keep going? You've had enough? If not, I call for the vote. All in favor to adjourn this meeting, please raise your hand. Any opposed? No. Any abstention? No. The meeting is adjourned at
12:58.
12:58. Thank you, Mark.
And here, just before we finish that, here it was moved, the motion was moved by Mark Jerome, seconded by Renee Sarmiento, and all of the 5 board members present voted in the affirmative.
And here in Albany, we also had a unanimous vote for board members.
Great job, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you. Okay. Yay.
And this.